You probably recognize me from the reference desk at the Concord Public Library. I love reading nonfiction. So today I'm here to give you my nonfiction recommendations that you can download from Hoopla for free without ever having to leave your home. Pretty cool. So first up I have Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. This is a book about productivity. So if you're trying to be more productive, you need to eat that frog. But not just any frog. Oh no. In the words of Mark Twain, you need to eat the ugliest frog first. And this book will teach you how to do just that. It'll take your list from stagnating to, hey, I did it. So if you need to be more productive, read this book. Next up, I have Smart Cuts by Shane Snow. How do you accomplish incredible things in a short amount of time? With Smart Cuts. There are a lot of people out there who have overcome obstacles in a fraction of the time it takes the rest of us. So what makes them so special? This book explains it with fascinating stories of how people have done just that. Stories include how Jimmy Fallon climbed to the top of the comedy industry faster than most, how Castro created a revolution before he came to power, how schools in Finland went from having the worst test scores in the world to having the best using unconventional methods, and so many other stories. These stories really stuck with me. I learned a lot by reading them, and this book gives great advice on how to do more by doing less. So even if you're not into business, you'll definitely enjoy the stories in this book, and you can apply the ideas to tackle everyday life. So don't take shortcuts. Take Smart Cuts. And I had to recommend The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and John David Mann because it is just such a charming story about a guy named Joe who is overworked in the business world, who can't relate to that, and is starting to lose everything. So he desperately reaches out to a guy named Pindar who offers to guide him in the 5 laws of stratospheric success. But only if Joe agrees to implement each lesson before the day is over, which is no easy task. It's a great story about how by focusing on giving, you can actually receive exactly what you need. So you definitely don't want to miss that one. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, I have Why A Students Work for C Students and B Students Work for the Government by Robert T. Kiyosaki. He is the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. This is an amazing book. And unlike his other book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, he doesn't talk down to poor people in this. Instead, he tells you exactly how rich people get rich. That's right, I said how. It's a completely different mindset that they have, like using other people's money to fund their luxuries. So for them, instead of buying a car, they would buy a storage facility and use the money from that to fund buying a car, something we wouldn't think about doing. It also goes over how to work smarter, not harder. So those C students knew that if they did just enough work to get by in the classes that they didn't like, it would allow them to focus more attention on the things that mattered to them. Unlike A students who learn to work hard and eventually burn themselves out. So if you ever wondered, how is that person more successful than me? You need to read this book. Well, there you have it. Those are my recommendations. Happy reading.